And now we're back with another episode of Helheim from Tales.
Yeah.
And I'm joined by a goat.
No, it was a dolphin. I'm a dolphin this episode.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, I actually come with...
Duffin.
It's the Duffin.
I'm a duffin. All right, that's a goat. All right.
So I actually come with a...
Don't space it out that much, my guy.
From my parents. Well, a story from my mom.
Nice.
So this is one of her real life haunting experiences.
So just kind of like as a background, we were both supposed to get a story from our moms. My mom just kind of refused. I asked her, and she's like, "Oh yeah, for sure," and then she just walked away.
Yeah, gotta love it.
Not really, man. I was like, "Hey, can I get a story for the podcast?" She's like, "Oh yeah, of course." Then she took off for like 2 weeks, and then she came back, and I reminded her about the story.
Yeah.
And she's like, "I don't know," and I was like, "What the fuck? Are you gonna charge me for this?"
Probably.
Alrighty. Well, let's see what your mom has, because you've told me a couple of stories about like that she's gone through, like all the stuff that's happened to her.
Yeah.
And I think we maybe cover like 1 or 2 stories on here, but I don't think we've actually like full extent.
No, and they were brief from just what I remember, not, the exact things.
Alrighty. So let's see what you got.
All right. So this is from when she was 7.
Oh shit.
My family of 6 rented and lived in a duplex. A mountain was our backyard. After a lot of incidents involving strange occurrences in our house, we came to the conclusion that our house was haunted. Our family would experience tremors, and let me tell you, living in Arizona, tremors are a rare occurrence. Things would also constantly fall off of our walls and tables. We would ask our neighbors if they had similar things happen to them in their duplex, and they said they would never see, hear, or feel anything out of the ordinary. Family members would visit from out of town, and after staying in our duplex over a night, they would take their belongings and stay at a motel. They would recall seeing dark and light shadows, windows open on their own, hearing chains drag on the ground, and walk through cold spots in the house. In an attempt to make us more comfortable, our father made us a rope swing and tied it to a huge mesquite tree in our front yard, and we would play and swing on it all day. But my siblings and myself would never dare swing on it at night because we would see a tall man with no face, black rimmed hat, black long coat, and no feet. He would just stand there unmoving and looking into the house. Every Friday, my family would load into the car and go out for a family dinner. And every Friday, without fail, we would pull up to our gate and our headlights would illuminate a lady dressed in white, floating across our yard and going into our duplex. My family and I had to deal with these experiences for a year until we had enough money saved up to move. It was only years after we had moved out that we found out that our duplex was built over an old graveyard.
What the fuck?
Yeah, there was also,
Does your family still own this property or no?
No, I wish. I would love to go back there.
Do you remember where this property is?
No, but I'm sure my mom would.
We need to try... Okay, we have to try to find whoever owns there or lives there.
Yeah.
And talk to them about that, because that's fucking... You started off crazy, and then you just fucking, like, piled on the... Like, what the fuck?
Well, and even then, like, what wasn't explained there, like, some of my mom's family members, like her sisters and shit, would wake up to, in that same duplex, skeleton hands hovering over their faces and just all kinds of other weird shit. So that lady in white, they had... It'd go in, like, the front door and then, like, an entryway and then the actual, like, house. And I guess the woman in white would go into that section and just float around in, like, a circle.
What the shit, dude? And then the fucking... I wonder what is it with, like, everybody when they see an apparition? It's either a lady in white or a fucking tall man.
Yeah, that's one thing I wish I knew.
Like, why do they appear that way? 'Cause I'm pretty sure they're not the same person. Yeah, but it's like a fucking alley-oop dunk of fucking just intense scariness.
Yeah.
Like, tall man, then that's like behind the back, pass, like fucking ghost lady, skeleton hands hovering above face. Blah! Like, what the fuck?
I think the weird thing would be hearing like the chains and stuff being basically pulled and dragged on the floor. Like,
I actually had a story about that shit too. Now that I'm thinking about that, you said that, it reminded me instantly, clicked something in my head.
well, let's hear it.
When I was younger and I lived with my mom's place, and I was in like a smaller room, and my nephew would want to come over like every weekend because we'd play like 2K and shit. But he's the youngest male for my oldest sister.
Okay.
He would come and he'd sleep over, and since I had like a little small room and he didn't want to sleep on the couch by himself, I'd just like grab one of my mattresses and put it on the floor for him and give him a blanket.
Yeah.
And he woke me up like at 2 a.m. and he was like crying. I was like, what the fuck's going on? He's like, you okay? He's like, you don't hear the chains? I was like, what the fuck are you talking? And I sit up and I'm like listening and I don't hear anything. I was like, no, it's like, I don't hear anything. He's like, the chains. And then he's like, and he just crashed. I was like, what the fuck is going on? So when we woke up in the morning, he's like, hey, I can't stay over here anymore. I was like, why? He's like, I heard somebody dragging chains like in the kitchen. And then I heard like plates falling. And now that I'm thinking about it, this was within like a month or two of when I had that fucking month-long sleep paralysis every night.
Yeah.
So maybe he was onto something.
I don't know, man. It could have been. I mean, I wish I knew what, like, if something triggered certain things, or like if certain events happening triggered, certain bad spirits, or kind of what makes things happen.
We're going to reenact Flatliners to see if we can get to the other side and figure this shit out.
Right.
Oh, no, I was kidding. I was totally kidding. That was a terrible idea.
We just got to go to one of the most haunted places we can find here in the state and then do it there.
No, I'm good. No.
You don't want to take a little peek on the other side?
This isn't like an actual like ghost podcast. We're not like, you guys want to see what's on the other side? We're not doing that. But yeah, no, dude, that's wild. Do you got anything else from there?
Yeah, she's got the more that I have here. I think she has more. I just don't have them yet.
Oh, okay.
So this one in 1960, when I was 9 years old, we lived by Mission Manor. Our house was the first house built there. Even though our house was a new home, shortly after moving in, we started seeing shadow figures, hearing strange noises, and hearing whispering, which we were very disturbed with. This consistently went on for 2 years. In 1962, at the age of 11, I experienced the worst incident of my life. In my family, all of the children had their own chores to do. My brother had to throw out the trash. The trash can was a ways away from our house in a back alley. One night, my parents took my grandparents and aunt out for dinner. My uncle stayed back to babysit us. It was starting to get dark outside, and my brother was scared to go outside and throw out the trash. They asked if I would do it for 50 cents, and of course, I said yes. The only light that was illuminating my way to the alley was not bright enough, since that night there was only a quarter moon out. I had made it to the trash can, pulled the lid open, and disposed of the trash bag when I heard a weird sound. I looked up, and on the pole in front of me, I thought I saw a huge shadow that resembled a crow. I was frightened, so I turned around, and as I was halfway to the house, I saw a tall and what I can only describe as demonic dark shadow appear in front of me. I turned and ran around it. As I reached my back door, I felt something repeatedly strike me in the back of my head. I tore the back door open and ran to tell my uncle what happened. He grabbed his flashlight, and we both went back into the backyard to look around. As we approached the alley, we heard a loud gurgling noise. My uncle ran to the alley where the noise originated from, and I followed closely. We both saw the huge crow shadow, and the closer we walked to it, the more it faded away. After that incident, we all kept seeing shadows and hearing noises. After that experience, no matter where I go or where I live, I would hear whispers and see shadows, and occasionally smell perfume that originates from nowhere specific.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Are you a huge cunt?
Us too. Wait, can we even say cunt?
Of course! It's empowering these days. Cunt, 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 cunt. I'm Ange Ballastone, aka the drag queen, That Girl Gina.
And I'm Mike Fales, just a normal gay guy, I guess?
And we're the hosts of The Big Cunty Couch.
A gorgeous new talk show podcast where we invite queers and peers to sit, bitch, and be fierce on a huge-ass couch.
While we gab about all things gay.
So come get cozy.
And cunty.
With us. We're panned for platforms, so find us anywhere online and get listening, sweetie.
Or watching.
Or both.
Otherwise, why the hell am I in full drag?
And we'll see you on the big... Oh, wait. I thought we were going to say that together.
No. On The Big Cunty Couch. Mwah.
What the fuck? So my question is, does she still hear like the whisperings and all that shit like now?
She hasn't said anything. I haven't really asked her on that one. I know she sees shit. Like their house is still haunted. The one that they're in now.
Saying this, I don't think it's your house, their house, my dude. I think it might be your mom.
No, I mean, we have a ton of antiques in that house from the war.
Well, I'm
from
pretty sure that
other
doesn't
stuff.
help, but what it sounds like, it's something's following your mom or your mom's family around. Kind of like how,
because her sister that lived with her in all these houses, my cousin, the one from our sessions, his mom, she lived there, and I know she doesn't see stuff in her house, or at least that I'm aware of or been told of.
Yeah.
And, you know, I used to spend every night there like it was my home.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I never saw shit there, but I've seen shit at my parents' house.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I think it might be your mom. Who did she piss off when she was younger? Kind of like how we thought it was your wife that was like dragging whatever it was along. And then it turns out we thought it's probably me.
Well, it turns out I don't think it was even you. I think it was that item that you had.
Which one?
That Aztec item.
The Aztec calendar. Yeah, actually.
Because have you seen or had anything else happen since that's been gone?
No, but when we got rid of it, stuff was still happening at the old apartment. But that's because I think I brought something along with me from St. Luke's. And then when I moved out of there, I haven't seen shit. I don't think I've seen anything. I haven't seen anything. I haven't really heard anything either. But every like now and then when I'm driving, like at the corner of my eye, I'll see like somebody standing like on the freeway or some shit.
Yeah.
I'll turn over and be like, oh, there's nobody there. And I was like, that's weird.
You never know, man. Maybe it's a white noise situation.
Where you can kind of see like the lines from our world and their world kind of like blur for a second. You can kind of see through.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's interesting. But now that you're saying, I think I do actually have one story from my mom that I didn't say.
Mm-hmm.
This took place like 96, I want to say. Because I would have been a couple months when my grandma died. So this is kind of involving my mom and my grandma.
Okay.
So my mom and my grandma were always like really close. And my grandma fucking hated my dad. Like she did not like my dad at all. And meeting my dad, I understand why. Not a big fan either. But,
Right.
this is when she passed away. My mom had gone to Mexico because that's where the funeral was. So she had driven down. And like the whole time she was a wreck and she was a mess. And she had stayed back to kind of help my grandpa kind of like get situated without my grandma and all that shit.
Yeah.
So when she was driving back, she said that she was like just thinking about my grandma. She started crying, and when she started crying, it started raining like really fucking heavy. So she had to pull over.
Mm-hmm.
And when she was just sitting in her car, like she's just chilling, like listening to the radio, waiting for the rain to stop, that like the car like suddenly filled with like the smell of roses.
Yeah.
And like strong, like what my grandma's perfume smell like. And I remember her telling me that this happened a couple of times. It always happens like in like times of trouble or like when my mom's the most stressed. Like the times I can remember were that time. And then again, when my older brother was in the hospital for like a couple months, I think it was almost a year.
Yeah.
That she had got in the car because they said that they're going to take him off life support.
Right.
And the night they took him off life support, that was like his birthday and he had died, but then he came back to life. Like he revived. He respawned. I'm sorry, that's fucked up. But
did he have to pay money like we had to in Borderlands 3?
Yes, he had to respawn. But and then she was saying in the car crying because they had disconnected him and he had died, but he came back. But she was like in the car just like crying because they were saying if he wasn't making any progress that they're gonna have to disconnect him again.
Yeah.
So she was sitting in the car and then it just automatically filled with like the smell of roses and whatnot. And do you remember? This is a real sidetrack, but do you remember when I was driving through the reservation that one night by myself?
And you saw that old person?
Yep. You remember
Yeah.
what I told you I smelled right before I saw them?
Yeah, roses.
Yep. The car filled up with roses. And then I saw those two old people walking inside the road and I pulled over to give them a ride. And when I turned back, they were gone. So like maybe that was a sign that I wasn't supposed to stop.
Maybe that's a sign of death.
Maybe. But, so that happened and she had stopped in the road. And I think she said like actually that makes sense that what you said. Because a little bit up ahead, I think there had been a crash. So if she would have kept going, she would have been like in the exact area around there.
Yeah.
But when she got home, she had said that she was like sitting in bed and like all like her like clothes started moving around in the cabinet and all that. And then she heard like doors opening and closing. And then she's like, it's probably my mom trying to give me a sign or something. So she ignored it. And then my dad had a story about like around the same time that he was sleeping in bed.
Yeah.
And that he was kind of cold. And he kind of like turned over. And then he felt somebody sit on the bed. And he thought it was my mom. So he opened his eyes. And he saw it was my grandma. And then she's like, oh, mijo. And like covered him with the blanket. And he fell asleep. And then when he woke up, he remembered that my grandma had died of like a month prior.
Yeah.
So he was freaked out. My mom was like, that didn't happen to your dad. It's like, my mom hated him. My dad stays firm to this day that that's what happened. But
I mean, it's very likely that it did. There's stories of, stuff like that happening to people, their loved ones that have just gone like.
oh yeah, but what my mom's saying is that my grandma hated him. She wouldn't have put a blanket on him. She would have tried to smother him. But
I mean, it's hard to say, a lot of times when people are near death or upon death, it kind of changes their perspective of everything.
yeah. And then I think like later on in the same month that all that stuff started happening again. My mom was by herself. Well, not by herself because she had me and I was like 3 months. And she had my sister, which would have been like 2. And she was in the house alone and she was like scared. So she kind of just like yelled at the whatever it was. Like, Mom, I know if it's you, you're trying to just stay around because I'm not doing so good right now. But you need to go. Like this, you don't belong here. This isn't your place anymore. Like you just have to you just have to know that I'm gonna be okay. It's gonna take a little bit, but it's gonna be okay. And after that, she never heard anything or saw anything like that again. But how you say like you're around death, I can kind of like. Your wife has a bunch of stories, dude, where it's like this little girl in a white dress.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some of those from her. That way we can go over them on here, but
yeah. So just a little background on that one. I won't say any of the stories, but my older sister, narrator's wife, she was supposed to be twins, and my mom got in a car accident, like a couple months in. I think maybe like 5 or 6.
yeah,
And she had to go to the hospital because she had bleeding, and she ended up losing your wife's
twin.
sibling. Yeah, your twin. And which is funny because, well, not funny because we lost a sibling.
Yeah,
But my mom always said that it's kind of fucked up to say but out loud, but if the twin wouldn't have died, she would have gotten the IUD? And I wouldn't have been born. So, because they knew that they only wanted like 2 more kids, so which would have been your wife and the sibling,
Yeah.
and then I wouldn't have been born. So what I'm saying is, I beat that motherfucker out. Suck a dick.
I mean, again, sometimes they say to create a life, there has to be a life taken.
Fuck yeah, dude. I Mortal Kombated that motherfucker.
I mean, technically you didn't because you still, had to wait and all that shit.
I don't care, dog. I was in the womb right after, and I was like, yeah, bitch, what's up? But then she crashed again when she was pregnant with me, so I barely made it out. Explains a lot, though. Explains a lot.
So, from my understanding is she just needs to not fucking drive.
Not drive when pregnant. There's no risk of that now. Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, still,
Don't.
multiple crashes, just needs to not drive.
Well, neither of them were her fault, though. She got, like, T-boned.
Oh, okay.
Because she had gone on green, and then the car ended up running the fuck... I think it was in the same place, actually. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure she had said it was, like, passing where Santa Cruz and all that shit is.
Yeah.
Where that car wash, and there's that school, a Circle K, and then that fucking Crazy Cluckin' Chicken or whatever it's called. That gas station chicken place.
Yeah.
And that little turn lane right there to like turn over to the car wash. She had gone on green and then they just fucking both times.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You can't trust people, man. Not only can you not all the time trust ghosts, but you can't trust people.
Pretty much, man. But that's what your wife speculates, that the little ghost that she says that she's been following her since she was a kid. Mm-hmm. She thinks it's the fucking sibling twin.
I mean, it's possible. There've been, again, accounts of that happening and people telling stories of shit like that happening, or, very early on they lived and their twin died and they would continue to see their twin throughout their life.
Yeah, that's some fucking weird shit, though. That's terrifying. If I had a ghost twin, I'd be like, leave me alone. Only one could be the victor, and it was me, bitch. You're the weak one. But
or say, do all the looking you want, but you scare anybody, you be mean to anybody, and your ass is gone.
Look, but you can't touch.
I will exorcise you until you are gone.
What I want to get is just a collection of fucking stories from my mom whenever she's willing to tell me.
Yeah.
We owned a house in like Imuris, which is like maybe like an hour, 2 hours from the border.
I remember some of those stories.
It was a White House because my grandma and grandpa had bought, I think like, I want to say maybe 8 or 9 acres of land, and they split it up to like their kids. So my mom had one. I'm pretty sure I've said a couple stories here where that big tree that me and your wife used to play on when we were younger, and we're jumping off, we'd climb to the top and jump off. And I jumped and my shirt got snagged on the branch. And then I was fucking like choking. I was like I basically hung myself as a kid. I was like, oh, and then something just got kind of like picked me up by the shirt and threw me. And my sister was like barely about to climb the tree again.
Yeah, I don't know if you've mentioned that one, but you have mentioned a couple about the house, about walking over like by this little creek. There have been a couple, I think.
Yeah,
you
the back
stated,
creek, but that was like first episode that I started with the podcast.
Yeah, and then I think second you went into a couple about the house, the crazy like witch shit that you found under the trailer or whatever, under the house.
No, different house. That's
different house.
Yeah, that was in here in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
This is the White House. Oh, I call it the Alabaster House because it was like that kind of white color.
Yeah.
But no, dude, there's a lot of shit. Like everybody who's been in there for at least more than a day or two has seen shit. Like I have stories, your wife has stories, our 2 older siblings have stories, my mom has stories, uncles, aunts, just basically anybody who's been in that house.
I mean, shit, if you can get the story from your mom, your older siblings.
It's going to take a bit just to kind of get recon on that shit, but we probably could make a whole episode out of this.
Yeah, like
you know what? I'm going to fucking contact all of them today, and I'm just going to write everything down. And then we can fucking record it, because that house is fucking infamous, my guy. We don't know what happened there. The ongoing theory is that the guy who used to own the land there before, that he passed away, but when he died, he had hidden like a fucking satchel of money that he had stolen from like his family.
Yeah. And
it's somewhere on the property, but the whole bummer is we can't visit the house anymore because my mom sold it back in like 2005.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she sold the property and she sold all the fucking the house and all that shit. But my grandpa's house is very fucking spooky, my guy. It might warrant a trip down there at some point.
Yeah, we still got to go to that one Daddy Fat Sex was talking about up in Jerome, that hotel.
Yeah, that might be doable first.
So we just got to, one of these weekends, just head there straight Friday after work and fucking go stay there for a night, record.
I also want to investigate up by, what is it, Pine Top? Like right before getting a Pine Top, that fucking old station.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not haunted, but it's more of like, just kind of like a decrepit urban exploring thing. Just kind of run at night. Like, that'd be pretty tight.
Never know what we'll be able to find.
I'm going to steal that old McDonald's sign that's there.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's a lot of cool shit that we have to get to. Hopefully in the next couple episodes we can get those stories.
Oh, yeah, it'll come. It'll come.
Yeah, but...
And then be ready in one of the next episodes. We're going to be having Mr. Daddy Fat Sacks back on. He's going to come grace us with his presence.
Yeah, buddy. He's gonna be back for a couple episodes. I think, was it a couple episodes or was it just the one?
I don't remember. Daddy Fat Sacks, if you're listening, let us know how many you're going to do. Because...
what we need is more stories from your mom, because she has some crazy shit going on there.
Yeah, I still want to get the Ouija board story so I can get more in depth of what happened. And
then that time so she saw the devil or something like that.
Yeah, I need to get that one too.
Yeah, my mom has one like that too. And when you told me your mom's, like, that's really fucking similar.
The devil, man. The devil made me do it.
The devil went down to Georgia.
He was looking for some blow to steal.
No, we're not doing that version of it. We will get demonetized.
Right.
But, yeah, no, this has been fucking fun. Those stories are fucking insane. When I see your mom, I'm gonna have to talk to her about that, because this is fucking insane.
Yeah, she can delve into more. I mean, she's definitely experienced a lot of shit when it comes to the paranormal and hauntings and...
Yeah.
Like, I've experienced a lot, but goddamn.
Like, I feel like my mom has a lot more stories, but she just doesn't want to tell me, because she's one of those people I believe, like, saying it brings it into existence, or, like, it gives it power. So she doesn't want to bring up stories like that, because she doesn't want to fucking empower anything. Because where she lives now, like, in the little lot behind, a dude got shot, and he ran, like, to where her house is now, and he died in, like, the area where her room is.
Yeah.
And that's why she got that spot, and then she got her house so fucking cheap.
Well, I mean, one thing to think of, though, is yes, people say the more you talk about shit, the more power it gives. But then why does speaking a demon's name remove power from it? Why does talking about that more take
If that's
power
the
away?
case, is Rumpelstiltskin a demon?
I don't know, man. That's a good question.
He seems like he was making some very Faustian bargains.
Maybe he was a demon and they didn't know what else to call him or how else to take him down in history, so that's what they did.
That makes so much sense now. This motherfucker's weaving gold.
Yeah, that man spun a lot of yarn, a lot of stories, a lot of gold, a lot of trying to steal children. I don't know. Rumpelstiltskin is something that we might have to do some digging into.
For a second there, I thought you were talking about Willy Wonka.
Or
Michael Jackson.
Him too. Well, yeah, both of them, but I don't think we'll get too far into that because, some people will love it, some will hate it, and then...
The motherfucking Moonwalker himself.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, it's all stuff we could probably get into in different episodes.
Oh, yeah, there's always some crazy horror shit going on.
All right, I think that's pretty much wraps it for this one.
So we will see you guys, well, we won't see you, but you will hear us on the next one.
That sounded like the most menacing threat ever.
We'll see you guys on the next one.
You won't see us, but you'll hear us. Like, what?
You'll hear us coming.
Oh, no.
Not like that. Like
Rephrase it. Rephrase it.
You'll hear the footsteps coming in your direction.
Why do you pause every time you say coming? I don't like that.
'Cause by the time I got to that, I had to take a breath, so I take that little second to take a breath, and it ends up in a little pause.
Take a breath before you say coming. All right, guys. Well, you heard it here. Narrator's coming. In more than one way. Bum, bum.
And by that, he means I might go right, I might go left, I might go up, or I might somehow just go prone and crawl on the floor. You never know.
All right. Till next time, guys.